Sleep tracking has gotten really good over the past few years. If you're willing to wear something, a watch, a ring, a strap, something on your body all night. But what if you didn't have to wear anything at all? That's where the Somndeep sleep tracker comes in. This thing tracks your sleep using millimeter wave radar, not a wearable. And after spending time with it, I think it's a genuinely interesting alternative to watches and rings. This isn't just another wearable with different features. It's a fundamentally different way of tracking sleep. What it actually tracks. Let's talk about the basics, because this is where people can get skeptical, and I get it. Somndeep tracks your total awake time, total REM time, your light sleep, your deep sleep, and then the big picture stuff that you've probably seen with other wearables, total sleep time, your bedtime, your wake time, sleep latency, and that's the time in bed before you actually fall asleep, and then out of bed time, which is distinct from wake time, your night wakings, the number of times you wake up, and nocturnal turns, or changes in body position as you sleep. Where it gets more interesting with the Somndeep is it gives you things like sleep pressure, which is a combined assessment of deep sleep and respiratory quality, and then also specifically respiratory quality, which evaluates the regularity and depth of your breathing during sleep. On top of that, you get AI-generated insights based on your sleep trends. Now, there are some things it does not track that you may be used to seeing with other things, like heart rate, resting heart rate variability, and blood oxygen saturation. So there's a trade-off there. We'll come back to it. Now, when it comes to the accuracy versus wearables, that's the part that I cared about the most. So I compared Somndeep's overlapping metrics to Garmin and an Amazfit strap. And the numbers were consistently within minutes of each other, well inside what I would consider normal margin of error for these type of devices. Bedtime, wake time, total sleep, and sleep stages were all lining up pretty closely. Now look guys, if the numbers were wildly off, I would have ended the review right there and said I'm not really interested in carrying on. But what this tells me is two different things. Radar-based tracking devices work, and the data coming out of this device is legitimate. So it's not guessing wildly, and it's not giving you junk data. While you lose heart-based metrics, you gain respiratory quality, which is arguably just as relevant for sleep, especially if your breathing degrades overnight. I suspect that the respiratory quality scores you get from devices like Garmin and Amazfit are downstream measurements of blood oxygen saturation levels, whereas the Somndeep is directly looking at how you're breathing. I don't know that either is particularly better than the other, but they're just coming at it from two different directions. Somndeep does give you a sleep score, but it's not a numeric sleep score. It is like going to grade school. So you get like an A, B, C, and so on. Compared to my wearables, I'd say it's a little more generous. So if you use this, you're probably going to see decent scores unless your sleep is well and truly bad. Even on nights where my sleep wasn't particularly great, I was still scoring a B. I don't really care about that. I'm more into the nuance. I'm not chasing an A versus a B. I'm more worried about patterns and trends and not getting a gold star. My sleep is what I would call okay, not great, and that's even when I'm trying to keep my sleep hygiene correct. I rarely hit 8 hours, even without an alarm set on the weekends. I usually wake up early, and I almost always wake up at least once during the night, and then there's always the wander to the bathroom trips. Somndeep reflects all that reality pretty accurately. Now, there are some other non-tracking features that are, I'd call quality of life or quality of sleep features. There is a display on it with multiple user selectable layouts. If this was a wearable, they would be watch faces, but you can select that through the app and you can have it wake when you touch it, or set an option where it turns on when you wave your hand near it. It also has the ability to turn on a sleep light, a variable brightness, and a sleep sound. You can turn those on manually. You can have them shut off once you fall asleep. It's up to you. Brightness, like I said, and volume are user adjustable. There are different colors for the light and different sounds. Some people like to fall asleep with some sort of white noise like rain or crickets, and they've got a ton of options. So if that's your jam, you like that, soft light or sound while falling asleep, then they've got you. And like I said, all of it's super adjustable in terms of volume and brightness. Or you can do like me, I just turn everything off and I go to sleep. It's up to you. The big advantage for this, there's no wearable, and that's the killer feature. You're not wearing anything, wrists, rings, straps, nothing like that, and there's nothing to charge. So if your stuff runs out of battery in the middle of the night, you don't have to worry about that. Guys, you just lay down and go to sleep. So if you hate sleeping with a wearable, or your partner doesn't like you sleeping with a wearable, that alone makes the Somndeep very compelling. Now, it's not without its issues. Getting it set up was a little bit difficult for me. It took me kind of 3 tries to get it positioned where it would give me data. Once I found that position and dialed it in, it started tracking, and performance has been solid ever since. So like I said, the initial setup's a little more finicky than I would have liked, but once you get it going, there's no further issues. The app does have things to help you with this setup, so you can tell if the tracker is picking you up and tracking you or not. And because it is plugged in and powered all the time, you don't have to worry about charging it, so running out of battery is not a big deal. But running the power cable might be another consideration for you. I've got mine plugged into a charging station on my nightstand. Also, in my case, my lovely wife has a beautiful headboard. Me permanently attaching something to it would not make her happy, so I've got a somewhat makeshift setup to put the sleep tracker above me. Now, the good news about my very cobbled together setup is it's movable, so I can stow it during the day when I'm not sleeping. The tracker can be mounted on headboard or wall near you, so you don't have to necessarily do the headboard, but you need to configure the tracker app based on that position. The app itself, sometimes it doesn't want to show me last night's sleep data, but rather the night before that. So sometimes I have to go to the week view and then pick the day. I can still get it, but the app's a little bit unpolished when it comes to the presentation of your sleep in that regard. Overall navigation of it was good. I didn't have a problem with that, and it all makes sense, very common sense. But if you run into that, just realize that you might have to go to the week and then select the day. So who is this for? This is not a replacement for a high-end tracker like a Garmin, especially if you're looking for heart rate variability, training load recovery metrics like a Whoop strap. This isn't going to do that. But if your goal is meaningful sleep insight without wearing anything, Somndeep makes a strong case, and especially if anything annoys you or interferes with your sleep or gives you a rash. If you're chasing good sleep but the wearable causes you issues, you're just fighting yourself. So the Somndeep takes that clean off the table. And it's not a gimmick, definitely not vaporware. The data does hold up. Guys, I like tools that solve real problems instead of creating new ones. Somndeep does not replace my Garmin, but it gives me another way to understand my sleep without strapping more tech to my body. I'm a little bit overwhelmed as it is. And honestly, guys, some nights that's exactly what I want. I will include a link to the Somndeep in the description. Most of the links I post are affiliate links, which means that if you shop with them, they help out the channel, but they don't cost you any extra. If you enjoy gear reviews like this one and others for EDC gear, please do subscribe. And if you're still watching at this point, I do appreciate you. Your time is valuable, and you could be doing anything else or watching anybody else on YouTube, but you're still watching me. Thank you very much. Take care, stay safe. I will talk to you soon.
Get him, Jay.
Gus, look at me. What's going on, buddy?